Hey guys, what's up? It is Danica. I am here in Oxford. It is Wednesday, December 28th. It is a beautiful day outside. It was so cold yesterday. I think yesterday was, for me this winter, my first below freezing day, and it was so cold. I actually went and I bought Uggs. I don't know if I can show you. I bought Uggs. I used to wear Uggs like all the time for years and years and years, and finally a couple of years ago I was like, you know what, I need to stop wearing Uggs, because even though they are like the most comfortable shoes ever and they keep your feet super warm, I felt like I had this crazy moment where I was like, you know what, I'm like a director now at like a fashion company and I can't wear Uggs. And that was completely misguided, because they are actually the most comfortable, super warm shoes ever. And so yesterday, when it was like 28 degrees outside here and I was walking around and I saw Uggs on sale in the after Christmas sales, I bought a pair. So yeah, now I have Uggs and I'm so happy. And all of yesterday, all of last night, I was like, this is the best decision I've made in a long time. And it is. So I stand by my Uggs. Not sponsored. Not big enough of a YouTube channel to be sponsored by anything. So as you can tell, my hair is wet. Still short from my haircut. Hasn't grown yet. And I am having a cup of tea. I was gonna go to Brighton. I was actually gonna try to go to Brighton during this trip and maybe spend like an overnight there, because I haven't been to Brighton in a long time. But I also wanted to see some friends, and one of my really good friends from fashion school when I lived here like a million years ago in London, he actually moved to New York after fashion school and lived in New York for like almost 10 years. He was like senior designer at Ralph Lauren, and we were friends the whole time we were in New York. He actually lives back in England now. He lives right outside of London, and I wanted to like hang out with him, but we couldn't figure out how or where to hang out. I didn't feel like going back into London. The other day I went in on granted this was like a huge mistake on my part. So on Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas here, Boxing Day is basically like the British equivalent of Black Friday in terms of shopping. So I made the huge mistake of going to London thinking that I could go like shopping like a normal person in the sales and like pick up some, like the shopping in London is unbelievable for designer clothes. So I was like, I'm gonna go pick up some like great deals because I'm starting this new job in January, so I need some like, you know, cool clothes to wear to the new job. And I went and it was like gridlock. I've never seen anything like it. I went to Selfridges, went to Liberty. I tried to go to Lazy Oaf, but they were closed because it's Boxing Day. I went to, where else did I go? Oh, I went to Browns, which is one of my like all-time favorite stores, from even like, you know, they asked me when I was checking out, they were like, oh, have you shopped here before? Because, you know, they have people in their database. And I was like, yeah, like 20 years ago. Anyway, so I went to London a couple of days ago. It was a huge mistake because it was just too crowded. I mean, I love London, but it's just the wrong week to be trying to shop there because everyone is on break. And so people have traveled here from all over the world and they're shopping like fiends. Granted, I was shopping like a fiend too. So, kettle pot. So I want to see my friend Gary, but he lives outside of London. And so we were emailing back and forth for a couple of days trying to figure out where to meet. And I was like, let's go to Brighton. But then I realized it was taking like 4 hours to get to Brighton. And that was just like too much of a schlep just for like an overnight, just to go like, just go for the day basically. And so I always forget that I am an old person, and I always forget that my friends can drive because I can't drive. I've never driven a car. I really actually want to do that as a video series, learning to drive. Originally, I had pitched years ago when I was working at Glamour that I could get celebrities to teach me how to drive, and actually line up a bunch of really big celebrities to teach me how to drive. But for some reason, it just like never happened. I think it was just like really complicated logistically. Anyway, so I have never driven a car in my life. I've never sat in this driver's seat and turned on the ignition of any car. In fact, it's so bad that a few years ago I went snowmobiling with my friends in Aspen, and the people who ran the snowmobile operation refused to give me my own snowmobile because I had never steered myself in anything. Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell. Anyway, so Gary drives, and he was like, well, why don't I just drive to Oxford? I've never been to Oxford. And then I got really excited because I obviously have a huge history with this town and I love it so much. And I am never able to show anyone around this town because some of my friends just aren't interested in coming here. And most of my friends have been here already because a lot of people have come here on school trips. It's like a really, really historical town in England. So when Gary said that, I was like, yes, come here. Like, I'll take you around. I'll show you my old college. Like, we'll go to some like 13th century pubs and eat lunch and stuff like that. And there's this amazing pub up in Wolvercote called The Trout, where it's just, you know, very traditional British pub, but they also have a family of peacocks that just like wander around. It's really like idyllic, perfect place. Like Harry Potter was filmed here. Alice in Wonderland was like, you know, written here. It's just a really magical city. So I'm so excited to be able to show people around. So then he emailed me again later that day and he was like, do you mind if I bring my nieces? And my parents want to come too. So now I'm gonna hang out with the whole family who I love. Like, I've met them before. We spent a lot of time together in New York. I'm so excited to see them. But first I'm gonna have a cup of tea. We're here at the Radcliffe Square, the Radcliffe camera again, and it is so beautiful. It's Gary, remember Gary?
Oh, do you want me to do
No, we're doing a little video. It's such a sunny day out today. It's so beautiful. Gary, what do you think about your first time in Oxford?
Amazing. It's really nice.
Yeah. His parents say that it feels like Rome, and I get that because it's built a long time ago. So
Look, there's people up there for church too.
There's people up there in the church. I wonder if should we climb up there? No. This is one of my favorite stores. It's Lewis Carroll's Alice's shop. And this is where Alice Little, when she was like a little kid, used to come and buy candy. Now it's just souvenir store number 83. Hey, what's up guys? It's Danica. I am back. So Gary and his family and his nieces, they were here for the afternoon. It is now 3:30 and they've just left. I think they wanted to drive home before it got dark. I think it gets dark. The sun sets around 4 o'clock here. It was so fun to see them. Like, I haven't seen them all together since maybe 2011, the last time they all came to New York for the holidays. I think they came for Thanksgiving for like a long weekend one year. It was so fun. I haven't seen those two girls since they were like little kids, which is really cute because now they're both teenagers. Like, one is 12 and one is 16 or 17, maybe 16. It was just so great to catch up. I love hanging out with teenagers. I love hanging out with teenage girls because I think they're like really smart, and I feel like I have a theory that like no one really listens to teenagers, especially teenage girls, and I love hearing what they have to say because, I don't know, they're a lot more insightful than people give them credit for, and I definitely have had this feeling ever since I was a teenager. Anyway, so they got me, it was really cute. We went to that Alice's shop in Oxford, the one I showed you guys, and they got me little chocolate bars, which is so cute. It's so beautiful actually, look at that. And this is like a running joke. So my friend Gary, he knows that I really love, like for like 20 years, I've been obsessed with Monster Munch, and you can't really buy it in the States. Like, you can get it like randomly sometimes if you go to the British grocery store in New York City. But he always, every time we would go home to England, he would come back with a giant bag of Monster Munch. So he got me a giant bag with 3 flavors. Look, there's roast beef, which I've never actually had. I've never had the roast beef Monster Munch. The pickled onion, and for you guys who don't necessarily eat British snacks, you might think this is kind of gross, but there's a pickled onion flavor Monster Munch that's delicious. Monster Munch is sort of like a puffed corn snack, sort of like cheese puffs, not cheese puffs. Like, what are the puffy cheese doodles? Like cheese doodles, basically. Like cheese doodles, but not cheese flavored. So they're flavored with other things. So pickled onion, roast beef, and my favorite flavor of Monster Munch is Flamin' Hot. So there's definitely some Flamin' Hot in there. Anyway, so that was our day. We met and we went for lunch at the Turf Tavern, which is this 13th century pub that's across the street from where I used to live when I was a student here. It's a little hard to find, like it's down an alleyway, but when you go there, it's like magical. Like the ceilings are really low and it just feels it feels like you're back in the 13th century. The food is really, really good. People there are super nice. And I think like rumor has it that like J.R. Tolkien used to drink there, I think because he lived in the street when he was a student, or he lived in the street at a certain point. There's a house on Holywell Street on that road that is marked, like it has a plaque that he lived there. And Inspector Morse, I think, is filmed there, or like the character goes there a lot. Anyway, so we had lunch there. I had a beef and ale pie. I've been craving like a British pie for days now, so I'm really glad I had that. And then we walked around. I showed them around. We walked to my old college. It was closed this week because it's like, you know, in between Christmas and New Year. So we went there. It was closed. We sort of like, you know, looked around, and then we walked by Radcliffe Square with the Radcliffe Camera, like my favorite place in Oxford. And then we walked down to Christ Church. I showed them Christ Church. We walked into the gardens a little bit, but like it was just a lot of people. So we decided to go for a coffee. So we went to the Head of the River, which I love. I love that pub so much, for a coffee, and then we walked back. So that was the day. Oxford is pretty much like Central Oxford is pretty much that. And then of course there's like Jericho with all its great bars and restaurants and like very residential, beautiful area, and South Oxford near Abingdon, and then Cowley, which is like cool and international. Oxford is small but also big at the same time, and I think it really suits me because Oxford has the intensity of a big city because there are a lot of people, and when you go to the center it's actually quite crowded and has everything you need. It's got like all the supermarkets, it's got all the chain stores, it's got all the coffee shops and like all the restaurants, but at the same time it feels quaint and steeped in history. And it also, what I really like about Oxford is that it feels really international. So it obviously has a huge international student population, but it also has like great bookstores and great film, you know, great cinemas, and it has a huge international working population because a lot of people who come here to study eventually become professors here, or there's also a BMW factory here. And so there's a lot of like, there are a lot of smart people who live in the city, and I really, really love that. So that's like one of the reasons I really like it here. Anyway, so that was my day. I think it's still light out, so I wanted to film this while it was still light out. I'm probably gonna go back out, probably gonna get a coffee because it is early. I might go see a movie or do a little bit more walking around. I'm starting to get into that panic mode. Now, every single time I come here, it doesn't matter how many times I've been here, I hit a day somewhere like near like the middle or the end of the last week that I'm in town, and I start to panic because I know I have to go back. Now, in a way, I feel really lucky this time because I do get a buffer week of, I get to go away for another week and get to go to Finland for another week. So I don't have to go directly back to New York, which is sort of like baptism by fire. It feels very harsh to go directly from Oxford, one of my favorite places in the world, to New York, which I very, very much associated with like work and career and like really like type A, like aggressive personality in terms of like myself and also the people around me. So I'm starting to get into that mode. So I do want to make sure I like see everything I want to see, like go everywhere I want to go, like eat everywhere I want to eat, and like have that full-on experience of feeling centered and correct and at home and like completely myself before I leave, because I know I won't be able to come back here for a few months. So yeah, I guess I'm stressing myself out. I don't know. Does this count as anxiety? Who knows? Anyway, so thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you like these weird videos I'm doing. I know I'm not like out as much as I thought I would be and like not walking around as much. I think I might go to Port Meadow at some point this week. We'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.